extra dog litter. It's May 6th, ice out canoe trip in Algonquin, and there's a turkey on the side of the road. Oh shit. Just coming into the park, but we're coming in from the wrong side, so we still got another 2 hours before we get our access point. We're putting in at Tim River. Gonna be an 8-night canoe trip. Nipissing run, pretty standard, and the weather looks perfect, so hopefully it's gonna be a really good time.
Continue straight. You have arrived.
Now I remember this place. Deeper move up. Oh, it's already pretty full. There's a nice spot right there, though. The little handle there, you just kind of take your foot off the peg, grab it, pull up a little bit, and then towards you if you want to go closer or push away. Yeah. Very what?
Very light.
Yeah. So we just put out from the access point. We put it in at Tim River. Gorgeous day. It's probably about 20 degrees. It's a very easy day today. We're just going to Bob Lake. This is an ice out trip. It's May 6th, and we sort of had to plan a trip sort of at the last minute because I had a trip reserved. But Algonquin called me a few days ago and told me that the access road that I was going to use was not accessible yet, and they weren't going to maintain it right away. So basically just booked a Nipissing River run based on what was available, because obviously a lot of other people had already booked at this point. So it's not going to be a very hard trip, but really looking forward to it. The weather's supposed to be gorgeous. It's me and Mike. Mike's got pretty much all new gear this year, new to him anyway. He bought Mark's boat and a bunch of new hammock gear and stuff, and so he's fully geared up for this trip. The barren wasteland backdrop here.
Can't ask for a better day.
Oh, this is perfect. So after 5 minutes of paddling with your Cruiser 14.8, what's your impressions like?
Not bad.
Not bad?
Very light. It wasn't really dainty, but remember, it's nice.
It'll catch the wind a little bit more than, but they do fine.
That's what I want to see on the river, what it handles like and whatever.
Right.
I'll adjust and see if I don't get dunked. Yeah, it's burning.
You want to cut through the bush or go around the island? We can do it. first portage of the trip is a little 345. New to me for this trip is this Kevin Callan Special Edition backpack from Recreational Barrel Works. I'll show its features a little later on. Alright, so first portage. Got Mike all adjusted because it's his first time portaging his boat and first time single carrying with that boat. And so he's up ahead somewhere. So it's a quick first portage, a little uphill, but it's just a 345. So it should be pretty good. Oh, there's Mike up ahead. Our second little lake of the trip. It is Chibiabos. Yeah, it's a tiny little lake with 2 campsites on it. We just go around the bend to the right here. And we have another 300-meter portage. So that was a tiny little paddle, as expected. And just at the end of the lake, this little spot, there's another 320-meter portage. Another tiny little lake, and then we got an 800-meter or something like that coming up. So our third portage is right ahead. It's an 820, and it's a pretty easy first day for us here. Really, the 7-hour drive was probably the worst part of our first day. Last little mini paddle. You can literally see the portage from the end of the last one, and it says 795, I think, and then we're in Big Bob Lake. That's where we're staying tonight. We got 3 campsites to choose from, so we'll see, paddle around, see if there are any that are taken and which one looks the best, and then set up camp. So this is the takeout of Big Bob Lake. Like I said, there's 3 campsites, so we go around and see which one we want to sit and stay at. So this is the closest campsite to the takeout. It's right next to the falls that lead towards the Little Nipissing River. So it's got a nice big rock from the front, so we'll get out and take a look what it looks like. So I got out and checked out that campsite. Looks really, really nice. Plenty of room for hammocks and stuff like that. But on the front of where there's the big rock, there's some grass, and then there's the fire pit and some benches. And when I got up to that area, the whole thing was humming. And when I looked down, the ground was just covered in flies. And they were just swarming. I assume somebody stayed there and maybe spilled food, or maybe they gutted fish there or something. Anyway, for some reason, just the whole ground was like moving with flies. So we'll check out one of the other sites, see if it's any better. So we settled on the northernmost campsite on Big Bob Lake. It's probably going to have the sun for the rest of the evening. And there's a lot of fallen trees actually on this campsite, but there's enough, plenty of spots to put up hammocks, so we're good for that. So this is the new backpack that I took on this trip. It's from Recreational Barrel Works. It's the Happy Camper Limited Edition, which is basically their tripper backpack, but it comes in this color. It comes with the Happy Camper badge, and it's signed by Kevin and Andy. Anyway, it's a nice bag, very comfortable on the trail. Has a big pocket on the top of the brain. And you basically, one thing I really like about it is the main body is about a 70-liter body, but it can grow, like you can fit quite a bit more if you have to. So I think it total with the brain storage, and if you have it stretched all the way up, it can hold something like about 105, 110 liters, something like that. Anyway, so obviously it's not a waterproof bag, so I got a pack liner with it, a little roll-up pack liner. And anyway, my first day using it, but so far so good. So we got some firewood cut to cook the steaks. Got a bit of a gear bomb here. Set up all the hammocks. I'm using my Blackbird XLC lightweight double layer that I usually use. Wookie underquilt. My normal UGQ tarp. Like I said, Mike's got pretty much all new gear this year. So this is a full kit. It's the first time we've set it up. It's a full kit from Hammock Gear. They're known for making like the underquilts and the top quilts. But this is their sort of like their basic tarp, where it comes with all the guy line system, like an easy adjust guy lines. You can just easily tighten everything. It comes with these sort of Python style straps that you just click at the, like it's loops all the way down, and you just click anywhere you want. Anyway, it's a gathered end 11 foot hammock. The kit comes with the underquilt, the top quilt, the hammock, and we added an underquilt protector just for like blocking wind. And anyway, the whole system, and it looks like a really nice kit. So we'll find out tomorrow morning how he likes it, how he sleeps. Find him?
No, I just hear him. That's the other side.
We're just packing up camp, morning of day 2. That little rock island right in front of the campsite there has a pair of seagulls that are clearly nesting. One stays on the eggs the whole time and the other one comes and goes. It was a pretty cold and damp night last night. It didn't rain, but it was just really, really humid. It got down just above freezing, probably 2 degrees or so. So it was a good test for Mike's new hammock. So what's the verdict, Mike?
Pretty comfortable, nice and hot.
You were able to stay warm?
It was very warm, actually. Surprising.
Yeah, that's good.
Sweating last night.
So we got, I mean, most of the days in this trip aren't very difficult. I think we got about a 4 or 5 hour travel day today. Only 800 meters of portage spread over 7 portages, I think. So it's going to be pretty easy. Though we do have the Alder section of the Little Nipissing to go through. So depending if other people have been through it this year yet, it might be difficult. We'll see. Anyway, get the day started. So coming up to the first portage, it says 200 meter, brings us to the Little Nipissing, I think. And it sounds like there's just some rapids here, some falls that goes around. Leaving this little falls into the portage, and we got a quick little beaver dam here, and then we follow this little creek to the main river, and we turn right. Oh, this is actually quite a much bigger drop than it looked. Hit the same spot I hit, it's perfect. Coming up to a section in quick succession. We get 5 little portages around little falls like this. So it's going to be like a 65, 65, a 55, a 200, and a 110. Pretty much one after the other. Coming up to the second 65 meter. This 65 looked very skippable, so we'll see how much paint I leave on the rocks. That was pretty easy. Next portage is just 55 meters, but it's you can actually hear the falls, so it's definitely one that we had to portage. We've actually stayed on this campsite a few years back. This is the site where I woke up in the morning, got out of the hammock, and sort of looked up and realized that there was a wolf like 15 feet from me. We were just staring at each other. It's pretty cool. And once he decided to run off, he basically jumped from all these boulders at the top of the falls here. He jumped from boulder to boulder to boulder to the other side of the river. Mike noticed a little waterfall on one of the shores going up the Little Nipissing here. So I could paddle over as close as I could get to it through the grass here. Come up to the 200 meter. Looks like it's got a good sized drop. So we both got a bite on this these little falls here that we just finished portaging around, but no catches so far. Mike's beating me 2-0 on pulling in sticks. I spoke too soon as I just made that last clip. First little brookie of the trip. Wet my hands and let them go.
Slightly right of the foam. Bubbles brown rock.
Here's the 110 meter portage. So it looks like we're starting into the older section of the Little Nipissing. Don't expect it to be too bad. Probably some people have come through here in the last week. But we'll see. It shouldn't take too long. So we got our first roadblock on the Little Nipissing. Looks like right this big tree here, which actually has the campsite sign on it. It's completely blocking off the river. And I guess we could either pull up onto the land, or break off some branches and pull the boats over the top, which is probably what other people have done. Big beaver. Hey, Mike. Hey, Mike. Mike. On your left, there's a huge fat beaver on the ground.
Huge fat beaver?
Yep.
Alive?
Yep. Right there. Well, so far the alders have been just fine. Easy to paddle. Always plenty of room. Obviously, except for that big down tree that blocked the whole river. So far, so good. Where'd he go?
It dove.
Oh, okay. Oh, he just dove under it when I started recording. Oh, there he is. There's the duck is getting between me and Mike, following us down the river. Well, now he's taking the lead. So we're continuing to make our way down the river, still in the older section, although it's less and less tight corridors. Started drizzling light rain on us. Like Mike said, every time we do alders, it's got to rain. But this is going really well. Much easier than a few years ago when we came through with Mark and Edgar and Mike. Coming up to the last portage, 100 or 110, something like that. There's a campsite along this portage too, on these falls. So this big opening here, I assume is Grass Lake, which means we're right at our campsite, which is just at the end of this. And of course it's pouring rain. So just trolling right before our campsite here, and hooked up. Looks like a nice size one too.
What do we got?
I mean, it should only be, yeah, it's a brookie.
Wow.
Brookie. Nice smell supper. And we're coming up to the campsite on Grass Lake along the Nipissing River. Said I've never been on the site, but I've paddled past it and it looked nice from shore, so that's why I decided to book it this time. And yeah, we'll see if I was right. So the site's really nice. We just put up a rain tarp for now, a DD super light 10x10. Mike's gonna get some twigs going, hopefully get the fire pit going, and yeah, the site's perfect. Lots of space. So we're good to go for the night. So Mike's got the fire going. We're got the gear, most of the bomb of gear under the rain tarp. Mike's hammock set up right there, and I'm a little bit farther behind it. So tonight we're gonna have the trout, which is already filleted. We're gonna have some kung fu ramen noodles, a little beef jerky, and various desserts. Morning of day 3. Glass Lake on the Nipissing River. Another pretty cold night, but speaking for myself, stayed completely warm in the hammock. We got a bigger travel day today, probably about 23 kilometers of paddling, 7 portages, but not very long ones. Should take us about 7 hours of traveling, plus fishing. It got a little colder than I thought last night, because there's ice on the boats, so it definitely got below freezing. And we're out on the water for the beginning of day 3. We got a good amount of paddling ahead of us before our first portage. So, just taking the winds of the river and making progress. Here's the little portage sign in the middle of the river, which means that we're at the fork where the creek joins up with the Nipissing. People who came from like the Roseberry side. Coming up to the first portage. It's a 3-something. Goes around a couple of sets of falls. We've camped on the first campsite on this portage. It's really nice. One of my favorite campsites. And usually the fishing at the bottom of the portage is pretty good. I've caught fish in the middle pools and at the top too, but it's better at the bottom. So we finished that portage and tried to fish at the end of the falls, but my spool is all screwed up on my fishing rod. So next portage I'll probably take it apart. I think I got some line that wrapped inside the winding mechanism. Anyway, on we go. Next portage, around some rapids. It's a 90 or 100 meter, something like that. So those are the little rapids we just portaged around there, and the next ones are right here with the portage on the right. So now we got a nice little, I don't know, probably 40-minute paddle till the next portage. It's an absolutely beautiful day. It's sunny and relatively blue sky, a little hazy, but surprisingly cold still. Like there's a wind whipping through, and according to my cheap little thermometer here, it says it's 12 degrees right now. But there's some bite in the air. Still, not really complaining. It's a beautiful day. I feel like I'm being hunted. So this is just a little 30-meter portage, but the water looks plenty high enough to skip. And I believe right after this there's a rocks. Less talking, more paying attention, I guess. But right after this, there's a 110 meter. Just stay all the way on the left. But go towards the rock and then cut left. This big boulder is the start of the portage. It's 155 meter. Again, going around some little rapids here.
What do you? Oh, it's recording.
Yep, just before we started the portage, we're taking a little cigarette break for Mike and a little, so I decided to throw a few lines.
Small kids.
Little brook trout on a little Weber grabber, whatever these are called.
Ooh, it's a pretty.
Yeah, it's a nice one. That's what we're portaging around. Nice little hot spot. It's like my 4th fish in a row.
Oh, looks like Mike's got a nice size one on. Good job, man.
Before you put it back, give me a nice look at it.
Gonna give him back the fish that he had in his mouth.
Oh, you had a fish too?
Yeah. Fucking We'll give him back his fish.
Beautiful fish, man. Nope.
Oh shit, he had a bunch of them.
My turn to get back on the board. Oh! Lost him at the boat, but at least I got to see him. Okay, so we gave up on the honey hole for a little bit there. We have a tiny paddle and another 100 meter or so portage. So rapids or falls start over there, but the portage is back here. So I didn't realize the 105 meter that we're doing is already the junction one that goes towards the cabin. So we're probably gonna have, if there's nobody at the cabin, we'll probably stop there and have lunch and then keep on going. I just walked the section from the portage to the cabin twice. Well, I went back and because I lost my sunglasses. As you can see, they're on my face right now, but that's not where I'm not that stupid. Basically, searched everywhere around here, walked all the way back, came back, couldn't find them. They had fallen into the canoe. I guess when I took the map out from under my seat, they probably fell off my head, and I didn't notice. So we just finished the portage. So now we got it, I don't know, something like a 2-hour paddle, maybe an hour and a half, something like that, to our last portage of the day. Our campsite is at the end of it. It's the Browse Creek Junction campsite. So Mike's just putting in, and we'll start the paddle. Starting the last portage of the day. It's just a 385. We camp right at the end. The campsite's called Browse Creek Junction. So we've arrived at camp. Haven't fully set up yet. I'm just gonna throw a few lines, see if we couldn't catch a trout for supper, because all the ones that we caught earlier today, we just let them go because we still had a few hours of travel and we didn't feel like portaging the fish. So we'll throw a few lines here, see if we can't catch supper. If not, we got plenty of food in the food bag. So it took about 3 casts to catch supper. Perfect size eater. Beautiful fish. So I just caught 3 in a row, so I figured might as well turn on the camera, so I stopped my streak. Because every time I turn on the camera, I never catch a fish. Yep. Huh? It's gold and orange. The size is important too. If you can get one about that size. Yeah. So we're finishing up the evening. We fried up the trout. We had craft dinner with some tandoori spice to give it a little extra flavor. We're finishing off what little wood we have left. Got the hammocks all set up right here. Just sitting by the fire, enjoying ourselves.